Welcome back, everybody, to Webheads. Oh, I thought you were trying to do the clap. I was like, we don't do claps anymore. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Webheads. Today we're talking Thor. I don't think we've done a Thor story, have we?
No, he's been dropped into a couple of the stories that we've done.
Yeah,
so not a
full Thor story.
Yeah.
So let's get into it.
Did you even say the name?
Webheads?
Yeah. All right, let's go. All right, so what have you been up to, man?
Oh, man.
It's been 2 weeks since we recorded.
Well, what have I been up to? I've been reading a lot. Because this story that we've done or did is like 10 issues, I think, right?
It was hefty. It was 12.
Yeah, it was long. I've been trying to squeeze in some Pokemon Shining Pearl in there.
Yeah, me too.
I haven't gotten very far. I think I just defeated my second gym.
I'm like 4. I got 4. I got my 4th one the other day.
Okay. And what else? Doing that. I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Go. Yeah, I'm still on it. If anybody's still playing or wants to play, jump back on and join me. If you haven't played since it came out, it's changed a lot, trust me. And yeah, just trying to get some Christmas shopping done for everybody. This is a stressful time for me because it seems like my money just kind of stops coming in.
Yeah.
So I get kind of stressed out and trying to buy gifts and everything, but I got a lot of it done. I got like a couple people left, and then from there, I should be good.
There's no way we can fake acting like we just recorded this 2 days before it came out. But at the time we're recording this, it is, what is it, December 5th today?
Yep.
Yeah, which is why he just finished his Christmas shopping.
Yeah.
He didn't just finish it 3 days after Christmas.
I give everybody IOUs.
Yeah. Hey, I'll talk to you in a few days. that gift hasn't come in yet.
I just pretended like my calendar got shifted, and I was like, "Today's not Christmas,
huh?
Oh my goodness!
Oh man, nobody told me. I'm so sorry about that, guys. I'll have your gift in a few days."
What about you?
So last weekend in real time was Thanksgiving weekend.
Yes.
Black Friday, all that stuff. So we spent some time with Fariel's family from Canada. They came into town. And
Good old Canucks.
Yeah, her cousin just had a baby and just moved down here. I got to hang out with the baby for like 3 days.
Nice.
Yeah, which was great. That's always a good time for me. So that was fun. And yeah, same thing. Playing some Pokemon here. I bought that new Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, how's that?
Haven't played it yet.
Okay.
No, I just bought it because I heard good reviews, and I bought it because it was on sale this week.
Oh yeah, it was like $30.
Yeah, like 26. So I bought it. I knew I'm not gonna touch it for a bit because I did get that GTA trilogy.
I'm sorry.
It hasn't been that bad actually. I just never played the original ones.
Okay.
I've played like missions and stuff here and there. Well, other people had it, but they were already so like deep into the game. It's just like, oh, let me try.
Yeah.
So like everything is brand new. Yeah, the graphics are kind of shitty, but I haven't come across any glitches yet. So yeah, same old stuff. Pokemon cards. Just been buying individual ones here and there, like 20 cents a piece. So that's not bad. And yeah, just that's it. I read a few other books besides the Thor stuff we read this week. Started Big Hero 6.
Oh, okay.
Because I've been seeing like random stuff pop up. Oh, Big Hero 6 is like Marvel stuff for like a couple years now, and I never actually like looked into it. It's a long read though, so I haven't finished. And then I was watching Sons of Anarchy on Hulu. last week. And of course, I don't pay for the no commercials one, so I have to keep seeing the same shit over and over. And then they put up a commercial for that Hit Monkey show.
Mm.
So I started. I wanted to check that out.
How's that? I keep seeing the commercials, but I just haven't jumped into it.
The show I haven't started.
Okay.
I just started reading the comic book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but there's not tons of stuff on it.
Oh, something I did want to ask. How are you guys liking? Well, I know it's probably over by now, but how was Hawkeye? How do you guys like the show Hawkeye?
Yeah, what does everybody think about that?
What?
I'm only 3 episodes in right now.
Mm-hmm. Which is all they have out at this moment.
Yes, but I like it.
Yeah,
I really like Haley Steinfeld as Kate.
yeah, she fits the bill really well.
Yeah,
I thought because there's a lot of like fan casting before the show was announced and this and that, and people kept asking for her to be Kate Bishop, and I thought they were just kind of doing it just to kind of because she looks like the character and everything, but she does a really good job at kind of fitting that like kind of she's smart but not the smartest in the room, and like that just kind of silly like kind of what they're going for. They're not taking themselves too seriously with the show, which is what I like. There's serious moments, but it's not like it's trying to be the next big like event thing or anything like that. They're just having fun with like it's like a Christmas. It's set during Christmas and it's like a Christmas movie.
yeah, it feels like it.
Yeah,
It's fun though. This third episode was probably the best one.
mm.
They really got into some heavy stuff, and that car chase scene.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing. I loved it. And Haley Steinfeld and Jeremy Renner, they work really well together.
Yeah.
They have a good chemistry together. I really like it.
I was watching something the other day, and they were talking about like the first 2 episodes. Jeremy Renner did really well as playing. He played a guy who didn't want to be there so well. It seemed like he didn't want to be there himself. And I was like, I kind of got that because watching him, I was like, does he actually even want to be in this show? But then I kind of remember, like, this is a man who just wants to be with his family during the holidays and is now stuck in a city.
He lost his family for 5 years.
Yeah.
For 5 years. And then all he wants to do is just spend time with them. This is his first Christmas back with them. And yeah, I get why he doesn't want to be there. And I didn't realize that that's how like other people were noticing it until now. But looking back on it, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But then in the third episode, he kind of like warms up to the idea and like so his acting is getting well. Not that it was bad before, but it's just like now you start to see that shell kind of break, and he's like kind of in a way enjoying himself.
The only thing that I didn't like is that this third episode really made me wish that they had done stuff like this with Hawkeye way long ago. In this, not even just the third episode, but the first 3. Like, why haven't you guys done this with him? I don't know what his future is with all this. But damn, they should have done this shit a long time ago.
Yeah. Thinking back to like his first appearance not his first appearance, but like his bigger role in the first Avengers, and how like I read that like Jeremy Renner was just not happy with the fact that he was a bad guy and he would just pretend to have a heart attack after each scene, hoping that they would just fire him. Now I kind of get him. Like, yeah, you want to be like this guy with the trick arrows and doing everything, but you're just now this minion throughout the whole movie, and then at the end you kind of get to do the hero work, but nothing like too flashy. You got a couple cool scenes where you're shooting behind your back, but that's pretty much it. The second movie, still kind of, but then you're just set as like the everyman in that movie, you know, the everyman with the heroes, and then you weren't in Infinity War at all. You're in Civil War, but like again, you were still kind of that everyman kind of thing. This is like the only time he gets to be like that comic accurate sort of like character.
And it's like, I'll admit it, like I've shit on Hawkeye a lot over the last couple of years, but it's like from what we've been given before.
Yeah.
Like, well, of course I'm gonna shit on him. He hasn't done anything. You guys haven't let this man do a single thing, and then you kill off his friend the last time we saw him, his best friend, after he's fighting to get his family back in the first place. Like in the same movie, you guys kill off his best friend.
Yeah.
You guys have been shitting on this guy. You guys have been making me do this.
And they could have easily gave him like all the trick arrows that he used in that car scene.
Mm-hmm.
They could have easily been playing around with trick arrows in all the other movies.
Yeah.
Like they kind of did with like the USB arrow.
Yeah.
But that was pretty much it. Everything else is just regular arrows.
Yeah.
I can't remember him actually using any other specific like trick arrows in any of them.
I want to say there was
besides-
an explosion arrow at
Yeah.
one point, but
That's
it.
pretty much it.
But like, yeah, like the comedic part of him that we're seeing in the show now.
Yeah.
You guys could have thrown this in a hell of a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like, I get that Paul Rudd is great, and we used him for the comedic spots in like Infinity War and Endgame, but
They even gave those to Don Cheadle.
yeah,
Don Cheadle's role was just one-liners the entire movie.
mm-hmm. Yeah, they're doing him wrong too. At least he's supposed to have a bigger role in Armor Wars, though.
Yeah.
So
we'll see if we get like a real war machine in there.
this, you know what I was thinking though is, so we're very clearly ramping up towards the Young Avengers.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't burp.
Yeah, that was weird. What does that mean for the current Avengers? Well, one, we don't really have current Avengers.
Yeah, we don't really have an official team.
Yeah. But we still have Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
We have Bucky.
I think they're going to go more of like a set up the Young Avengers. They're going to get their own thing. Mm-hmm. And then it's going to just be them for a while. And we'll get like solo stuff from like the main characters. Or the ones that are kind of like, quote unquote, the Avengers now. We'll probably get like a new Avengers. Captain America, Bucky.
That's what I was thinking too.
Captain Marvel, maybe.
So, hear me out. Where does Spider-Man fall here? Since we know now at this point, we know he's getting 3 more movies at least.
Potentially.
3 more solo movies.
I think he would fall into, well, in No Way Home, he's supposed to be like, this is like his last year of high school. So now he is technically going to be college age. Mm-hmm. But that shouldn't relegate him to being on the Young Avengers because he technically is an Avenger, though. Iron Man did, so he would technically be on the new Avengers. And then if they decide, because rumor, or I guess it's implied that out of the 3 new movies, if they do them, that Tom Holland is going to be there for at least one of them. And so if he's there for at least one of them, most likely we could get a Miles Morales, which would then be a better idea for the Young Avengers, depending on how young they make them. Mm-hmm. And then Spider-Man would be on the new Avengers.
It's going to be interesting. Because, like I said, we're ramping up towards the Young Avengers. So we know that we're going to get that at one point.
Yeah.
But then we still have all these kind of outliers. Shang-Chi. We're going to have Moon Knight, She-Hulk.
I think they can make a new Avengers team out of that. It'll be different.
It's so weird that, like, not weird in a bad way, but it's so weird that there's going to be all of these people, characters, whatever you want to say, in the same world.
Yeah.
Like, do we get a West Coast, like, Avengers?
Yeah, that's another team they can do.
Or do one of those teams just base out of the West Coast at one point? Like, just having all of this in one world now that isn't, like, comic book form, it's nuts.
And I'm curious, too, because the Avengers before had Tony as like their benefactor. So like everything they had was Stark made, like set up,
And they still weren't getting paid.
and they still weren't getting paid. But now, like, who's gonna be, where their headquarters? Who's gonna buy the mansion, or who's gonna buy, the spaceship that they use to fly around, or any of that?
Yeah, the money factor is going to be an issue for them probably going forward. The smarts and the technology and stuff, like they have. Peter can work on some of that stuff. I'm assuming that Shuri would work on some of it, and like, Bruce.
I guess Shuri could be like the benefactor of anything. I mean,
yeah, Princess it all have to be Wakandan made.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the story that we have this week. The title of the event is called "If Asgard Should Perish." Our first Thor event, like we said.
Should it perish?
I don't know.
Let's find out. Hint, we don't get the answer.
We don't. You guys have to figure it out on your own. But we'll lead you up to it. And hopefully one day we'll get there. So, this was a long one.
Yeah, like you said. Yeah, 12 issues.
I read the first 6. You read the second half.
Oh, did you actually read the whole thing, though?
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh, this should be fun then.
Yeah, I was going to, and then I was like, well, he picked the second half, so I'll just let him do his part. I was going to, honestly, and then the week just got ahead of me.
Glad to know that I'm not the only one that doesn't do the homework sometimes. No.
I was like, well, let me just figure out with everybody else. All right, so the first issue that we had was Thor 242.
I'm gonna follow along with you using my Marvel Unlimited app. Only $10.99 per month.
Yes, and Marvel, if you're listening, we're more than welcome to have a promo code.
Yeah.
Please.
Let us know.
Please.
I'm poor. Help me.
Come on. My year's almost up. All right, so 242. The first people we see are Thor, Jane Foster, and an amnesiac Odin walking out of a pyramid in the middle of San Diego.
Real quick, did you read any issues before this?
I tried to, and I was like, what the hell is this?
Okay, because I didn't, and then this is the first thing I see is just like them walking out of a pyramid in San Diego. I'm just like, I missed a lot.
Yeah. Oh, I went back like 2, and then I realized that I was still in the middle of something, and I was like, I'm not going to add like
more to
what I have to do. But from what I understood, it was that Odin had gotten captured by a group of people. They brainwashed him into thinking he was somebody completely different, and Thor had gone in there and saved his father.
Okay.
Yeah. And Odin in this whole story is not a fan of Jane Foster.
Yeah, when I was reading it, I was thinking this is I can kind of find like a metaphor for like some racism or something in here.
he solely does not like her just because she's human. Even though in the stories before where I start, she basically helped save him.
Yeah.
And he's like, Thor's like, hey, like, what about her? Screw her. Yeah, so the three of them are walking out of a pyramid literally in the middle of San Diego. Odin was mind controlled into thinking that he was an Egyptian god. With Odin coming back to his senses now, Thor says, hey, Pops, we got to get you back to Asgard. Everyone's been waiting for you. Odin says, all right, bet. I'm there. Thor's like, okay, perfect. Let's do that. Jane and I have been waiting for what feels like forever for this to get you back home. And Odin's like, wait, no, you're still with this human?
Yeah.
And and he's like, we talked about this. He's like, I'm going back to Asgard. You're staying here. You're not my son anymore.
Yeah, he's just like, if you're gonna be with this woman, you can't be by my side. Like,
yeah, you just saved my life. But if you're gonna be with this human, don't come back. Stay here. Stay on Midgard. You are not welcome back in Asgard. So, yeah, he says, you're not my son anymore. But almost immediately after that, some human girl named Judith walks up to Odin, who's, I guess, a love in a previous time of his. Or some side chick that he had, basically.
He's like, sorry, baby, I gotta go. But here's a golden rose to remember me by. And then just cuts out.
Yeah. That's essentially what happened. He was like, hey, I'm sorry I gotta go. But here, take this.
But I remember who I am now, and you're nobody, so bye-bye.
Sorry, human girl. But yeah, before he takes off, he says, I'll forever be indebted to you like she did something for him.
See, and that's what I don't get. Like, you're going to tell this human, I'm in forever debt, like I'm indebted to you.
Yeah.
But then tell your son, you can't date this earth woman. Like, you owe this other woman a debt now, and you're just and your son can't date a human.
And from what I saw, I didn't remember Judith being that. I mean, I only flipped through some of the pages in the previous story, but I didn't see Judith anywhere. So
he just had 1-2 good nights with her, and he's like, "Damn, this is good."
Yeah, came down from Asgard a few times. He told his wife he was just coming down to check on things.
Yeah, I'm going to buy some lottery tickets.
I gotta get some lotto tickets and some milk. I'll be back.
And that's how he lost his memory.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be surprised if I just haven't heard of like a human like Thor sibling.
Just a kid with a beard.
Yeah. So after Odin just dips out, we cut to Thor and Jane flying back to her Manhattan apartment, and then when they arrive, they hear voices coming from the inside. So Thor's first thing is to just crash through the window, and he's just ready to fight. Then he sees that it's actually his friends that are in there: Hogan, Fandral, and Volstagg.
The Warriors 3.
Yeah. And being the great host that Jane is, she brings the guy some lemonade. And then 2 seconds later, a large hand comes just crashing through the wall. And it grabs Jane and just takes her out.
Also, I did want to say that, like, they're very rude to, like, Jane's, like, offering them, like, oh, sorry, I don't have anything but lemonade. And they're like, do you have anything stronger than this?
Yeah.
I just told you, no, all I got is lemonade.
All I have is lemonade, guys. Sorry. I wasn't expecting guests in my house.
I got a huge hole in my window. Yeah. I got 3 people I wasn't expecting. And all I got is
lemonade. Oh, that's all you got? You mind if I go check the fridge? No, guys, this is literally all that I have. I haven't been home for 4 days.
I've been in a goddamn pyramid in San Diego.
Across the country. And I just flew across the country in the arms of a fucking god.
But my bad. I don't have anything else to
Sorry, I don't have anything stronger for you guys. Welcome to my home. Jesus. So, and then, the hand takes her out of the apartment. And whatever that hand is connected to, he's looking for Thor. He took Jane in the hope that he can get Thor to do whatever it is that he wants. And he says his name is the Servitor. And he's been sent there by his master. This dude is strong as hell.
And big as hell.
He smacked Thor through Mjolnir at him. And he just swatted it away like it was nothing.
He's literally in the panel I'm looking at. Thor is standing in the hole that he made on the second floor. So like Thor's on the second floor and they're almost at eye level.
Yeah.
And he kind of looks like a golden gladiator, but like full armor, but with like a red face.
So yeah, he knocked away Thor's hammer. So now Thor and his friends jump into action in order to save Jane, and then after a few minutes, they aren't really getting anywhere with this fight, right? So Thor does manage to wrestle Jane away from the Servitor, but the fight is far from over at that point, and then Servitor is just handing out punches like it's meals at a homeless shelter at this point.
And he has like this, like, I don't know if it's like a mace or what would you call his weapon, but it shoots lasers.
It's a lance.
Oh, lance. Yeah. So he has a lance that shoots lasers and smacks people, and then there's a part where they're all fighting, and Jane decides to pick up a lead pipe and decide to get in on the fight.
Yeah, throughout like all of these stories, Jane just inserts herself into potentially dangerous situations where she shouldn't be.
Yeah.
As a normal human. Like we were just talking about Jeremy Renner being just a regular American guy fighting with superheroes. Jane really should not be here. So yeah, Servitor's throwing out those punches, but he betrays himself in telling everyone that as long as he has a lance in his hand, he can't lose. So what happens next? Thor trips him up basically, and then knocks the lance from his hands, and he's ready to slam his hammer down through the head of the Servitor. But Servitor surrenders. Thor says, "No, I don't care. Like, like you brought this fight to me." And then Thor's stopped by a voice saying, "Please, the battle's over." Thor looks up, and we see the Servitor's master, a man named Zarko, the Tomorrow Man. And we've brought this bone up before with Marvel. These names are horrible sometimes.
Yeah.
Zarko the Tomorrow Man? That's horrible.
Like, did he give himself that name?
I hope not.
I'm Zarko, the Tomorrow Man.
That's why they tell you not to make up your own names, your own nicknames. You can't nickname yourself. It's got to be from somebody else. So, yeah, we see Zarko the Tomorrow Man, and he says, hold up. This has all been a misunderstanding. I sent the Servitor here to get your help, not to hurt you.
It didn't seem like
didn't.
He punched a hole through this woman's wall and grabbed her. That seems like a threat, like a full-on threat.
Yeah, if you need, like, if we've never met and you need my help, don't punch my wife and say, "Hey, I'm gonna keep punching her until you help me." No, my man, you need help. You come to me first and say, "Oh my God, can you please help me? My master needs your help. Can you come with me?"
Yeah, it was as simple as that.
Yeah.
And don't send the 2-story tall giant to ask for my help. Send the guy who gets your coffee.
Yeah.
Like,
send somebody that looks nice.
I want to knock at my door. "Hey, I'm Dan.
Hey,
I work for
I'm Dan.
Zarko the Tomorrow Man."
I'm from the offices of Zarko the Tomorrow Man. I just need to talk to you real quick. He sent me over here because we need some help.
Oh, sure, yeah. What kind of help do you need?
Well, with a name like that, I guess it sounds like it's important, so let's do it. Yeah, so he's like, "This is a misunderstanding. I sent the Servitor here to get your help, not to hurt you. And if you don't help me, then all of Earth is doomed." So really, you could have just shown up and said that.
Yeah, I don't know why you sent the servant when you're just going to show up 5 minutes later.
Yeah. Were you just hiding behind the building like...
This is getting out of hand. I better do something.
Oh, man. You see how he punched him? So that was 242. So now we're going to 243. Zarko explains that after his last battle, he went back to the 23rd century. So he's a time traveler, if you guys haven't gotten that. He went back to the 23rd century, of which he came from. He spent months working on building the Servitor, and then took his time cube, which is basically his time traveling machine.
It's literally just a cube.
Yeah, it's a yellow cube.
It's a giant cube.
Yeah. I guess it could be gold, but it looks yellow.
And he flies through space and time.
Time and space, yeah. So he took his cube further into the future. He finally stopped in the 50th century, where he became king of the Earth. He only came back to Earth to warn. He came back to this current time in Earth to warn. Not warm.
Warn.
Nah. So he came back to this current Earth to warn them of these people called the Time Twisters. He says they only quickly arrive on Earth, but in the short time they're there, they're going to burn it all down. They will just completely raze Earth. There will be no more. So they travel through time backwards and touch Earth every 30 centuries. This is the Time Twisters.
Yeah,
So the way they travel through time isn't obviously we don't have real time travel
Yeah.
that we know of, but people assume that time travel is just a straight line, right? So you're going from 2021 to 1978. You're just going in a straight line there.
Yeah.
These people, or Zarko, is saying that the time twisters are basically going in a spiral, or almost like a sound wave through time.
And it touches the timeline at certain points every 30
centuries. They touch Earth. Yeah, and every time they touch Earth, they just completely erase the whole thing.
Yeah.
I guess
coming backwards, right?
Yeah, they're traveling through time from the end of time.
Yeah.
Backwards. But I guess essentially they're ending the Earth sooner every time. Time travel is confusing.
Especially in the 70s or whatever, and like...
Yeah, they really didn't have any idea what was going on there.
There's like science mumbo jumbo, dinosaurs. You guys get it.
Yeah, every 30 centuries they'll touch Earth. Okay. Bring in the Spider-Man writers, please. Yeah, so every 30 centuries they hit Earth and completely destroy it all. Thor and friends agree to help Zarko, but before they take off, Jane says, "Oh no, I'm coming too."
Yeah.
Which isn't a good idea. But she's going to go. So Thor says, "No way in hell." And then she says, and this was something that maybe I should have read before, but she says that after Lady Sif had died, parts of her spirit were transferred to Jane.
Yes.
Yeah. So Thor says,
"Okay, let's go."
And that's why she keeps inserting herself into situations that she normally shouldn't be in.
She shouldn't be in.
Because she feels like she has the power of Sif. I mean, she does, but like she feels like she has that need to fight.
Yeah.
In her.
And it just gets her in trouble.
Yeah.
But back on Asgard right now, Odin is watching this whole thing play out, and he's just pissed. And
he's like pissed this whole run, like
yeah, he's just overly upset.
Yeah.
At everything that's happening. He's throwing people in dungeons. Like he disowned his son for doing the same thing he did.
It's like someone gave him a shit sandwich, and he's just like, everybody's paying for it.
I hate shit sandwiches. So yeah, Odin was watching. He's pissed. They just cut there for that, just to show that he's pissed off, and then they cut back. And then while traveling in the time cube, Thor, his friends, and Zarko, they get attacked. When Thor goes to investigate, he's greeted by a dinosaur, and him and the dinosaur battle it out for a few minutes before Thor knocks the dinosaur basically into another dimension, it looks like.
Yeah, he just knocks him into nothing.
Yeah, he just knocks him into time, I guess.
And if it says, born by the mystic mallet, the prehistoric giant is hurtled violently away until its frightful screaming is lost in the mist of time.
So you telling me that dinosaur was screaming the whole time? He got hit by that hammer and he just screamed?
When I read that, I was like, I feel bad for that dinosaur.
That dinosaur was just doing what he was supposed to do. And you hit him with that hammer and made him scream until he just didn't exist anymore. And now who knows where the hell that thing is. You just knocked him back into time.
Yeah.
And you don't even know what time you knocked him into. Time travel, I tell you. So, yeah. And then when he opens the door to the time cube, Hogan is like, "Hey, buddy, let us help you out. This isn't good. Like, you need our help."
Yeah.
And then Hogan turns around, and when he does, there's just a ton of warriors just like raging at them.
Yeah, warriors from different times in history. So you got like Mongols, you got Romans and Aztecs and all these different types of warriors just there, and they're all pissed for some reason.
Yeah.
And they're all working together for some reason.
They're fighting. They handle that pretty quickly, and they just the fighters just start disappearing in like a mist.
Yeah, so this is what happened to the dinosaur. It gets thrown into like, because they're it looks like they're walking on a cloud.
Mm-hmm.
But when like around them is like this colorful, swirly, like I'm assuming that's what time and space looks like.
Yeah.
But when they get knocked into that, they like turn into nothing. They get vaporized pretty much.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to the dinosaur.
It doesn't. It's like they're not real, I guess. So yeah, they defeat the warriors and they finally make it back to. They get on the ship. They finally make it back to Zarko's home in the 50th century, only to find out that it's basically a shithole, minus his palace.
Yeah, he treats everybody like shit.
Yeah, horribly. And his palace is filled with all the pleasures a man of his stature would like. We also find out that no one in Zarko's kingdom has electricity.
Yeah, he took all their power.
He hoards it all for himself because he thinks that if they have a way to communicate, which they would be able to with electricity, that they would overpower him and then he'd lose his throne.
Or just be a nice guy and give people.
Yeah, just don't be a dick to people. That was it.
That was scary.
I thought you farted.
That's what I thought.
And then you looked at me like, what the hell? I was like, well, that definitely did come from me. So after showing Thor and friends around, a few moments later, the Time Twisters show up at Zarko's door, and that was 2:43. So 2:44, Thor says, hey, we got to take this fight to them. Zarko says, hold on, let me show you something cool. So he starts hitting the computer and projects an image of his face into the streets and tells all the citizens, the first person to kill the Time Twisters will get an unlimited supply of energy for 1 month. Just 1 month.
Every time you say time twisters, I always comes to my head is titty twisters.
The first time I read it, that's what I thought of too. I was like, I got to get this out of my head. Because if I say that, I'm going to ruin this whole thing. So yeah, he says whoever kills them gets unlimited supply of energy for 1 month. The whole town loses their shit. And then wave after wave, the Time Twisters blow back each and every warrior coming their way with an energy blast straight from their hands. The Time Twisters shoot blazing light from their eyes that turn some people old, but slowly until they die. And then it turns some people super young until they just no longer exist. And then we flash back to Asgard, where Odin is still pissed about the fact that Thor is in love with Jane. He fires his advisor because he keeps asking why Thor can't come home. And then he replaces that advisor with a man named Igron, who was rotting in prison before this.
He was Loki's advisor, I think.
Yeah.
And also, I'd like to point out that Odin changes his outfits very often.
Yeah.
He's
even wearing like a Christmas outfit in one of these.
He has a new outfit every time he shows up in the books.
Consistency, guys. We need consistency here. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, Igron was basically rotting in prison before he became advisor. Back on future Earth, Jane convinces Thor to talk to the Time Twisters instead of fighting. It doesn't work until Thor surrounds them with fire, and then finally the Time Twisters say, "Okay, what do you want? What the hell do you want?" Thor says, "What's the purpose of what the hell are you guys doing here?" They say, "We're trying to find the beginning of time." So Thor's like, "Well, like, do you know what's happening every time that you stop somewhere?" And they're like, "Well, yeah, of course. Like every time we stop somewhere, everybody's better off. Like everything's good." And like Thor's like, "No, they're dead. Every time you guys stop on Earth, everybody dies. You guys are killing people." The Time Twisters are like, "Well, okay, oh well." Basically just say like, eat shit and die. Like, screw you guys. So the Time Twisters try to blast Thor away and with their laser vision, but it doesn't phase him either. Instead of sticking around for the fight this time, the Time Twisters bring a bunch of warriors from times past to fight Thor and friends again. The ground starts to crumble around them, but back at the palace, Zarko and the Servitor are running back to the Time Cube because they're like, "We got to get shaken. We got to get out of here." And then as the planet starts to end, it goes up in flames. only to stop not too long after that. And then we see the 4 Asgardians and Jane still standing to live another day. So they didn't die in the whole raising of the planet.
Yeah.
Which is surprising.
What I don't get is that the Time Twisters show up on Earth and destroy each century, all the centuries. But like, if you start in the 50th century, for example, why do you need to go to the 30th century to destroy it? Like, you're just going to destroy it.
My thing is like, oh no, this isn't the beginning of time. All right, just burn it. They'll be okay. What?
Yeah, if you have all this advanced technology to travel through time, shouldn't you just know where the beginning of time is?
It's like you show it, like you're trying
mystery.
to find like some store in like some like outdoor shopping mall, and you're like, oh no, that's not it. Burn it.
A grenade.
Oh no, that's Jamba Juice. We don't want that. Throw the grenade through the window. Okay. Now, what's the next one? Starbucks. Chuck it.
Here's Kids Foot Locker I was looking for.
Yeah. And then you get your shoes at Kids Foot Locker, and then you drive off and you're like, oh, that's probably the Starbucks and Jamba Juice is probably really good now. No.
We probably left them for better.
Yeah. Sorry guys, that's not how it worked. So that was the end of 244, 245. So 245, they basically survived the apocalypse. But none of them really know why they survived. They all thought that they were going to pretty much die there. So Thor thinks that Jane is the reason they survived, thinking that somehow she harnessed Lady Sif's power to bypass time and space. Zarko shows up in the time cube and starts acting like he found plastic in his lasagna. And he wants a refund because Thor didn't save the world. And Thor and Servitor start fighting again. We cut to a stowaway named Derek.
I thought it was so funny. His name's just Derek.
Yeah, just Derek. There's a stowaway on the time cube named Derek, and he snuck on the ship when everything was going down on his planet, so he can get revenge on Zarko for killing all of his friends and family.
Yeah, he was in the initial battle with the Time Twisters when Zarko tried to use the people as like his warriors.
Yeah.
He somehow survived and snuck onto the time cube.
Yeah, shout out Derek. So we cut back to Jane stopping the fighting between Thor and Servitor by reminding everyone that the Time Twisters are now on their way to the 20th century, which is Jane and Thor's home century at this point. And this is where it gets a bit confusing, as if it hasn't already. The Time Twisters are traveling backwards in time 30 centuries at a time. They destroyed the 80th century, the 50th century, just recently, and now they're heading to the 20th century. Thor's plan is for him and his friends to travel forward in time to the 80th century to meet the Time Twisters there and defeat them. But Zarko says, no, let's go to the end of time and defeat them there. So the Time Twisters are going backwards in time, and they're now heading to the 20th century. And then Thor and all of his friends are heading to literally the end of time to catch the Time Twisters there and defeat them there. I'm surprised that I wrote that out well enough for me to understand that, because that was a lot. So they all hop in the time cube. They take off, but they left my man Derek in the 50th century. Like, he hopped off the ship there after it was all raised and torn apart. And then, yeah, they just left him there. So sometime later, they arrive at the end of time. They see a large temple atop some boulders with 3 large statues guarding the temple. And it's all covered by a force field. For the second time in the story so far, these guys just break through the force field. Hulk did that in They Who Wield Power. What is the point of force fields? If all you have to do is just be really strong to break through it.
Well, I got a surprise for you in this next issues then.
I don't like this. I don't like this. All right, so yeah, it's a large temple, 3 statues in front, covered by a force field. After breaking through the force field, the statues come to life and start attacking. They say they're protecting those who sleep. Servitor steps up to the fight and ends up giving his life to help the cause. Thor and friends end up beating the 3 statues. When they enter the building, they see nothing but machinery and 3 large eggs containing the 3 little baby time twisters. Right when Thor is getting ready to throw his hammer through the eggs, an old-timey time twister.
Old-timey time twister.
An old-timey time twister yells, "Stop. You don't know what it'll cause if you kill those 3. And the old one called He Who Remains says that the 3 need to live so that they can travel through time and give knowledge wherever they can, which is not what's been happening. They're not even talking to people when they show up. So Jane says, "Hey man, you got your blinders on here. Those little gremlins over there are destroying every planet they touch." And then out of nowhere, again, the ground starts shaking because the end of time is finally starting. So Zarko, Thor, and friends all hop back in the time cube to save themselves. He Who Remains stays behind, and as the time cube floats off, he hits a switch that says terminate life support systems.
In English.
Yeah. Apparently English is the only language that's going to last that long. So it says, terminate life support systems, which I would assume is just going to kill everything.
Yeah.
Which it does. And Zarko lands his ship back in the 50th century, and everything is not how they left it. It was when they left not too long ago, the Time Twisters had just left. Everything was ruined, ashes, everything. When they come back, it's a bustling city with technology Zarko had never seen before. And the person at the helm of all of it, my guy Derek. I don't know what he did, but he turned that place around. So,
also something you missed is after Servitor died, Zarko is like all sad about it, and he's like, Fendel's like, "Come, Zarko, there is nothing more we can do here. The servant hath passed beyond our power to attend him. He was more than just a servant, Asgardian. He was my friend." And plenty of times throughout this, he's like belittling him or like calling him his servant.
Like that's not how you talk, but that makes sense because like he had a whole kingdom on a planet and just wouldn't let people use electricity.
Yeah,
like these people, everybody's living in shambles on your planet, and you're perfectly fine. And then your friend that you call your servant, like, no, sorry, buddy, that's not how this whole thing works out. You're just an asshole. Yeah, so Derek's at the helm of everything, and he says that since Zarko was time traveling, he technically didn't exist, and the 50th century Earth was reborn. And with Zarko's original world not existing anymore, Thor and his friends just disappear from the whole situation. Like they were never actually there or summoned by Zarko in the first place, because technically Zarko didn't exist. So, so at the end of that issue, we just cut back to Jane's apartment as if none of that stuff had ever happened.
With more lemonade.
Yeah. But like,
yeah, like they act like they just came back from like the grocery store. Mm-hmm. It's like, time to relax.
Here we go.
Like you didn't just travel to the end of time and basically murder 3 babies.
And that's I feel like that's kind of a lazy way to write to this whole thing.
Yeah.
Like that's like Lost, like the show where at the end they were just like, "Oh no, it was a dream. Everybody was dead." 7 seasons later, everybody was dead the whole time.
Yeah, like you just didn't want to think of anything to finish this.
And that's not the end of the story, guys. So that was the end of 245.
Yeah, do you guys understand where the story's going yet? Because we don't.
Nope. Hopefully we get there. We probably won't. 246, still in Jane's apartment. They see on the news that there's a revolution happening in a place called Costa Verde. And leading the pack of the rebels is a man called Fire Lord. And Thor knows him personally because they fought before. And Thor, at the end of their fight, let him live against his own better judgment. All of Thor's friends say, hey, let's go handle that. And Thor's like, no, this is my fight. I let him live. But of course, Jane says, well, my boy, I'm coming with you. I'm going down to fight with you. And then we cut back to Asgard, and Odin, he's in the middle of a power-hungry fit, just like he has been this whole time, and he's really losing it. And then, we only cut back just to see his anger, and then we're right back to Midgard, Earth, as some people would call it. We see Jane and Thor landing in Costa Verde, at the president's home. The guards start shooting because, of course, why wouldn't they?
Something I want to point out is that every time Thor goes somewhere, he just picks Jane up and like they fly there. But like for him, it's probably like whatever. So there's two things that can either happen. He's either flying super fast to get them from, for example, from San Diego to New York, super fast, which he would have no issue with.
No.
Jane being a normal human person going super fast outside of like an airplane, and depending on how high they're going.
Airplanes go what, like 400 miles an hour?
Yeah.
It still takes you, it's still a 7-hour flight from New York to San Francisco? Like, are you guys is he flying through the air for 7 hours?
And just holding, I mean, he probably has the strength to hold her, but her is like the same position, like.
Yeah, imagine like your face.
Yeah.
Being up in the air going that fast.
And all she's wearing the same outfits so far. She has not changed her clothes.
Odin's changed like 7 times already, and Jane hasn't changed once.
She's wearing a yellow blouse and red pants.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that's not the clothes you should be wearing when you're flying.
No.
At least 400 miles per hour in the sky.
No. But the only other way that it could be happening is if he like teleports. But even then, we're still seeing you flying.
Yeah.
So, like, are you teleporting to, like,
the outside city
like
limits.
3 blocks out and then flying home? You're like, oh, I can't teleport into Manhattan. It's against the law.
They have a no teleport zone here.
Yeah. So what the hell are you doing?
And I'm not paying that $45 ticket.
I've already gotten 2.
I tell you this now, Jane. You asked me to teleport to your apartment building. Not happening.
Not happening. We got to stop at the bodega anyways. Let's stop out here, and then we'll go home.
Yeah, and their whole situation with like the Warriors 3 and like them just like staying there sounds like a very toxic relationship. Like Thor just has like nobody. He's just like, hey babe, my friends are here. Can they? They just got out of prison. Can they stay with us for a minute? And she's just like, yeah, I guess like a night's fine.
Yeah, you're home. Like, my home's your home, right?
They're just messing up the house.
Yeah, what's the name? Volstag's is like eating everything in the fridge. Like, you guys don't even have money. Like, you're even, like, I love this guy. He doesn't have money. Like, I gotta pay for all this stuff.
Yeah, you're one woman supporting 4 grown men, and one of them, all he does is eat.
One of them busted through your window just to get in. And then who knows how the other 3 got in there. You got 4 grown, basically gods.
Yeah.
Just sitting in your house.
Watching TV.
Watching TV and drinking your lemonade. And who knows, like, we don't even know how long they were there before you got home.
What they were looking at, where they went. Like, just searching through your room and your house.
You guys have some boundaries here, Jane.
So yeah, they get to
the president's home in Costa Verde. The guards start shooting, and Thor's like, "Oh well, maybe we should have called ahead and just let them know that we were coming here first." But then he still knocks out all the guards like with his hammer, and then Thor bursts into the presidential office, and then he demands to know the whereabouts of El Lobo and the Fire Lord. I'm not sure I understand why Jane needs to be here for any of this. Because he's flying to the jungle to possibly get shot with her in his arms, basically. It's like, none of it, her being there doesn't make any sense to this story.
No.
So another example of them not actually having anyone of Latin descent in their offices They just keep using words like amigo and caramba. And they get to the jungle. Jane starts ripping her clothes apart because it's too hot. Another reason why she probably shouldn't be there.
Literally she just rips the sleeves off her shirt and ties the bottom of her shirt into like a crop top.
Yeah. That was it.
And now she's just like, okay, I'm better.
Okay. It feels so much cooler now.
This is for the teenage boys back then, and they're like,
yeah.
Whoa, a woman's stomach?
Whoa.
Hubba hubba. Buzzing.
You damn creeps. Staring at comic books that way. So so she fixes her shirt to turn it into a crop top. We cut to El Lobo and Firelord in the complete opposite direction of where Thor and Jane are headed right now. And then we see that Firelord is actually being brainwashed by a woman named Gypsy, which is her name. I'm not calling her Gypsy, guys. Back on Asgard, the Asgardians think that Odin is being a shitty leader, and they aren't going to stand for it anymore. We immediately cut back to Costa Verde. And just like I expected, Jane is complaining about how long it's going to take to find this guy. And then now, so this isn't a woman thing that I'm saying. This is just fact that she's not equipped to be out here in this jungle.
No, not at all.
I don't care what spirit she has inside of her. She shouldn't be out there. Thor could have handled this very quickly.
I think she's still wearing platform shoes.
She is.
Yeah.
A crop top, red, probably corduroy pants, and like high top boots. It's nuts. You shouldn't be out here like this. So yeah, they're out in the jungle and they're basically just waiting to get murdered because they don't know what's going on. And then what happened next? They're immediately shot at from behind. Jane and Thor don't get hurt, of course, but nonetheless, another reason why she shouldn't be out there. But the people that are shooting at them just decide, okay, the bullets aren't working. Let's just dogpile on top of them. And it works for a second. And then one of the commandos tries to take Jane, but surprisingly, she flips him over. And Thor says, you guys are done with all this, whatever it is you're trying to do here, but you need to take me to Firelord and El Lobo, and then we'll just end this all now. And then out of nowhere, Firelord shows up, and he says, hey, say less, I'm here. Don't worry about it. Thor's like, hey, buddy, you remember me? And then Gypsy is like, no, don't listen to him. He's crazy. You guys have never met before. So Firelord takes the first shot, just shooting fire at Thor. And then at this point, I've seen them say, oh, God, in Spanish, like 5 different ways. And none of them have been ay, Dios mío. So they didn't have anybody of Latin descent there, ever. Probably not until like the 2000s or something.
Probably.
And then, so while those two are fighting, El Lobo and Gypsy hold Jane at gunpoint. Again, another reason she shouldn't be there. And they tell Thor, put down the hammer. And that's what she said. I wrote that and I was very proud of it. As he puts Mjolnir down, Gypsy walks up to him and then she starts using her mind control on him to fight on their side. And surprisingly, it works.
So Thor and Firelord
are fighting against the Costa Verde government in order to take it over. And then now we're on 247. So now that Firelord and Thor are fighting against the government together, they're running through everyone that even looks their way. In Asgard, Odin has brought Balder the Brave, one of the Asgardians, to court for hearing that Balder wants to lead the insurrection against Odin. And Balder says, hey, my issue isn't with you, it's with your advisor. Odin doesn't care. He basically orders them to be chained up in the basement. Balder says, everyone in this palace is tripping if you think I'm going down there. And then he just starts sword fighting with everyone. But he gets away, and then he's like, I got to get to Earth and start looking for Thor, because that's the only way we're going to be able to end this. We cut back to Costa Verde. Jane is working on a plan to save Thor and herself. First piece of the plan is seduce the guard that's in front of her tent, and then she beats his ass. She takes his gun and starts threatening Gypsy and El Lobo, and Jane challenges Gypsy to a fight, And basically, on goes there. It's called a Helena knife fight.
Basically, it's just a street fight, a
It's
gang street fight.
Yeah, if you what music video?
It is a Michael Jackson one.
Yeah, where they're in like the parking garage.
Yeah,
and their arm is tied together, and they just start having a knife fight. That's this. And I'm pretty sure that's where he got that from. He was in all the comic books and stuff. So where was I? Yeah, so it's called a Helena knife fight. Jane actually gets the win, but Gypsy isn't going to honor her word, and now the commandos are ready to kill Jane. Thor has been sitting there the whole time, just not moving at all. But now he sees that the commando is pulling the trigger, and then something in his brain just snaps him out of it, and he's back to business. Jane sees that Gypsy is using a stone in her head, her headband, and she's using that to control everyone. So she snatches it like Debo, throws it in the fire, and then Firelord snaps out of his trance as well, because now there's nothing controlling him. But now the commandos think they can win this fight by themselves. What was that? Sound like a dog. But now the commandos think they can win this fight by themselves. So Firelord and Thor team up once more, take them all out, and then they hand deliver El Lobo and his lackeys to the president.
El Presidente.
El Presidente. And that was the end of 247. The end of what I read.
All right, so my turn.
All right.
So mine is we're starting on issue 248.
Mm-hmm.
So issue 248, this is the issue we see Jane and Thor returning back from Costa Verde.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just storming outside. New York is just being pounded by lightning. There's thunder. It's rain. People don't know what the hell's going on. Thor doesn't know what's going on. And so the storm is just causing so many problems. And so he puts Jane down in the apartment. And he's like, okay, I'm going to try to fix this. And so he tries to use his, God of Thunder powers and, ease the storm.
Yeah, he can command the weather.
Yeah, and that does nothing. He literally gets electrocuted. So he gets electrocuted, and he's like, "Okay, I gotta bring out the big guns for this one."
And sorry, real quick, the sound that he makes when he gets electrocuted is a Zach.
It happens throughout all the issues I read, but there's like a saying, not a saying. They say something. Everybody keeps saying like this one thing, like it's almost like Zoiks.
Oh no, I know what you're talking about. It'll come up again, I'm sure.
And I was just like, "What is this?"
I've saw it plenty of times.
Because it sounds so out of character.
Yeah, just keep going. We'll come across it again, I know.
Yeah, so he gets electrocuted, and then he uses Mjolnir to shoot a beam of light into the sky, and that somehow ends the storm some way. And so, but it drains a lot of his power, so he's just like on the street, just kind of trying to regain his strength. And he gets up, and then he walks back to Jane's apartment. He doesn't fly there. He just walks back.
No flying and teleporting in Manhattan.
And so he gets there, and Jane's like, "Hey, we got a problem. Your friends are causing a lot of issues in Central Park." So he flies to Central Park, and they're just in the middle of the street, arguing with cops, causing traffic jams. And they're trying to tell Thor, like, these people are just trying to get in our way. Like, we're just trying to hang out here. And Thor he's not trying to have it. He's tired. He just ended a storm. He got electrocuted. And so he's like, you know what, let me just fix this. So he picks up all the cars, moves them himself, and then just like everybody gets going with their life. And he's like, look, easy as that, let's go. So he picks up his friends. They head back to Jane's place, but he hears a voice in the room and he's going through the window again. I don't know what. Him and three other guys just walk through the door. He chooses to go through the window, but he hears a voice in the room with Jane, and so he starts like, "Who's in there with my woman?" So he busts in there, and it's none other than Balder, and he's there to tell Thor, "Hey, your dad's kind of losing it. Asgard's kind of falling apart, and he's not the same person. We need you to come back. So Thor is like, all right, bet, like, let's go. So everybody zooms over to Asgard. Jane, of course, says, I'm coming with you. I got the spirit of Sif in me.
Yeah. Mind you, her shirt's still in a crop top.
Yeah, she has not changed or showered. And so they get to Asgard, and Heimdall is just like, nah, like, nobody's coming in here. Odin has said, you're banished. This human's not coming in here. And the rest of you, just by default, just aren't allowed in here. And so they're just like, all right, well, we're coming in anyways. Do what you got to do. So a small little army comes through, and a fight breaks out. And they are not taking it easy on any of these Asgardians that are just doing their job and start whooping ass. They're slicing and dicing, hitting people with hammers. People are going flying. And so Thor and his friends have beat all the Asgardian warriors that welcomed them to Asgard. And Heimdall is like, all right, well, you guys took all them out, so I'm your last challenge. Get ready to, put all your power into defeating me. And then Volstagg just comes up behind him and smacks him in the back of the head and knocks him out. And so they just leave him there.
Mind you, they fought all those Asgardian like warriors, still fighting in the name of Asgard.
Yeah.
They were for Asgard.
Like they're both fighting for the same cause. And so they're walking through Asgard in poor disguises. All they do is just throw blankets over their head.
And Thor's still wearing his helmet.
Yeah. And they see that all the citizens of Asgard are just like not doing well. There's people on the streets in tattered clothes for some reason. They're just like laid out, and like obviously they know something's going on. Like Odin wouldn't let his people be like this. And so they have a secret meeting with some other Asgardians who are down for the cause, trying to get Odin, better, try to at least figure out what's going on. And so they decide they need to hatch a plan. They need to go talk to him. And they walk into the castle, and Odin is having them being met by more guards. So they have another fight. And there's a giant, like a storm giant in there. And normally Asgardians and storm giants don't get along. So Thor's like, yeah, something's up. He goes a little bit further, and he hears a voice calling, and it ends up being Odin's old advisor. Basically saying, hey, help me, Thor. I know, like, I've been trying to get you. I've been trying to get your father to listen to me and get you back in here, but something's not right. Like, this is not the man I used to work for. And then we cut back to Odin, and he is basically playing chess with little pieces of people that he knows. But he's like, his advisor is telling him, oh, your son's here, Thor's here with his friends. And he's like, good, this is exactly what I want. Because now they're going to die. And that's where it ends. Issue number 248. And we jump to 249. Now we're strictly on Asgard. No more Jane's apartment. Okay. Thor is in the castle, and he's looking to get into the throne room, but a force field is stopping him. This one he can't get through. So, force field, Odin shows up in the sky and says, you're not welcome here. You're filthy. You're not my son. I hate you. Leave. And Thor is just like, damn, Dad. Like,
damn, Daddy.
I thought we were cool. And so Odin banishes him out of the castle. More guards come to fight Thor, and he takes them all out. And then he drops a wall on all the guards. He escapes and makes it back to all his friends who are also hiding and waiting for him to return. He talks to his father's old advisor, and he says that this sword that he's just been having hanging on the wall, it's giving off some weird energy. Mm-hmm. Ever since they got there, it's been getting off this energy. So he hands the sword to Jane, and it starts glowing, and then all of a sudden, like, she turns back into Sif. So, like, they're inhabiting the same body. Now, Sif is back. Jane has sort of, like, I guess, regressed into Sif's body. Mm-hmm. And Sif is back. And Thor is having an issue with this because he has no idea. He's like, I'm in love with Jane, and she's been around for a while. But Sif is back, and I'm also in love with her. So, Is this a problem? Am I technically cheating? He doesn't know. But he's super happy Sif is there. He's like down for it. We cut back to Odin's throne room, and he is having a bunch of men move this giant sword.
So when he says giant sword, it's huge.
Literally, he cannot hold this sword in one hand.
Nobody can. He
Nope.
has like 50 people in here trying to lift just the handle of the sword.
And this sword is supposed to be all powerful. Like, if it moves the wrong way, if it's touched the wrong way, it sets off a huge chain reaction that can destroy the universe. And for some reason, he's trying to move it to his throne room and have all these basic men
with a whole bunch of lackeys. Like like they know exactly what not to do.
And so we cut back to Thor, Odin, and Thor, Balder, and Odin's old advisor. And they decided that they needed to go to a the desolate land to try to find someone who can help them get through the force field, because it's dark magic, so they need someone who knows dark magic. And so they get there, and they're traveling for a long time. They end up fighting more storm giants. Thor murders both of them, I think. And then they find who they're looking for. Canella, who is almost like a witch, I guess. She has dark magic, but she kind of hangs out here because Asgard has just never done anything for her. Like, they're just, they see her as a bad person because she's a witch.
They need to bring her into the MCU.
So she's just chilling in her cave with her little dragon, and Thor's like, hey, we need your help. She's like, whatever. I don't want to help you. I don't give a shit what happens. And Balder's like, here, I got this. Let me take care of it. He's like, hey, girl, I know we had some issues before, but look, we need your help. And she backhands. She's like, get the hell away from me.
I don't even know you.
And the advisor's like, hey, now that you humiliated Balder, can you just help us now? And she's like, yeah, I guess I can help now.
Yeah, while Balder's like in the corner, just like
he's rubbing his
himself.
tree. He's like, damn, that did not work how I thought it was going to work.
Yeah, why'd you hit me like that?
So she's like, cool, I'll help now. And then they all head back to Asgard. They fight some more guards, and then it gets to the force field, and they're all putting all their magic into it. I don't know what the other two are doing. Thor and Canella are like actually putting magic into it, but the advisor and Balder are just kind of standing there. And it allows a hole to open up in the force field, but only enough for Thor to jump through. Balder, the advisor, and Canella are stuck on the other side still. So Thor makes his way into the castle. He's ready to fight his dad to the death. He gets there, and they're just sitting there waiting for him. Thor just sitting on this giant, or Odin's just sitting on his throne on the giant sword, and his advisor is just like relaxing next to him, and Thor is asking him like, "Dad, what's going on? Like, you're not acting the same." And they just laugh at him. They're like, "This idiot doesn't understand what's going on." And while I was reading it, I was like, "I don't understand what's going on either." What I thought was happening is because the new advisor is Loki's old one, so I was like, okay, this has to be Loki disguised as Odin. Like, we've seen that happen in the movie, so this is obviously what's happening now. So there's a panel where like a flash of light happens, and I think Loki's gonna show up. It ends up being Mangog. So this whole time Odin hasn't been here. It's been Mangog in disguise as Odin. And that's where issue 249 ends. We'll go to 250.
Mangog.
We're almost there, everybody.
Almost. Hang in there.
And so we find out that, what's this advisor's name? I always forget. We're going to call him Carl.
Yeah. I think it's like Ingard or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So we're going to call him Carl. Yeah. So essentially when Carl was put in prison, he was in a dungeon all by himself, going crazy, just trying to think of ways to get revenge on Odin for putting him in there. Mm-hmm. And while he was in prison, he saw a tiny little Mangog. Super tiny, like maybe an inch tall. And in there, they decided that they were going to get revenge on Odin. And so what he did, Carl was draining magic from all the Asgardian residents, and he put that into Mangog, and that allowed him to grow from being like 1 inch tall to being like 15 feet tall and super big and strong. And so he took more magic and eventually put like a cloak over Mangog to make him look like Odin.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically just because Odin still wasn't in Asgard at the time. So he basically made him look like Odin and then told him, just tell the guards that you're Odin and they'll let you out of here. And so he goes to the gate and he's like, guards, let me out. And they're like, Odin, why are you in the dungeon? He's like, don't ask questions. Just don't. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. So then they just assume, I mean, rightfully so, I guess. They assume it's Odin. They put him back in charge. And Mangog and Carl are just like, yeah, we're gonna ruin stuff now. Like, Asgard's ours. They're gonna listen to us no matter what. So Thor's like, I'm gonna tell everybody what's going on. Again, he fights some more guards, whoops their ass. But the magic of Mangog and Carl is just too much for him to take. And so they knock him unconscious.
Imagine that show. Mangog and Carl.
Meanwhile, all Thor's friends are going through town trying to rally up the other Asgardians, letting them know, like, hey, we need your help. We're trying to get Odin better. Something's not right. We need more and more people. So they gather all these people. They head to the castle, barge to the gates, and what do they see? They see Thor strung up. You know, set as an example of what happens when you try to overrule the almighty Odin. And so Sif runs up and she's like, we gotta help him. We gotta help him. But, quote unquote, Odin and Carl are sitting there and we're like, no, this is what happens when you guys try to do things that you're not supposed to. I'm all powerful. Listen to me. And a battle breaks out. Odin starts turning people into animals. He turns Baldur into a dog, and the Warriors 3 into like a jackass, a pig, and a ram. And he turns Sif into an old lady. And he just like messing everybody up. But then Thor gets that mad strength. He big mad. So now he breaks out of his restraints, but the castle falls on him, and they think he's just dead. I don't know. The man can literally doesn't age, but they think a castle's going to crush him.
He broke through the machine that was holding him in place.
Yeah. And he gets up, and then at that point, Carl and Mangog are done doing the whole charade. So they're just like, you know what? I am Mangog. You guys can't defeat me, though, so deal with it. But Thor breaks out of the rubble, and him and Mangog have like a big battle. Going back and forth, Mangog knows he can't win, so he knows that the All-Father sword is sitting there. So he's going to activate it to just destroy everything. But Thor jumps between him and the sword, and they're just going at it, fighting. And for some reason, out of all the fighting, they're putting all their strength into it. But because Mangog was using the strength of the Asgardians to be big and strong, the moment they found out he wasn't Odin, they stopped caring about him, believing in him. So he lost all the strength, and he just fades out of existence mid-fight. And so from there, everyone's excited and happy. You know, Mangog's not there anymore.
That's
And that's the end of that.
I gotta be real. That's probably where it should have ended.
Yeah, you would think, right? But there's 3 more issues.
It doesn't.
So I'm just going to run through those ones like super quick because honestly, there's no resolution to any of this. So where yours ended could have been the end of, I don't know, the Warriors 3 being on Earth.
Yeah.
And then Thor could have been like, all right, now I'm going to go to Asgard and help my dad out. And then this is where it should have ended. But now, what we're going to do, now Thor, because Asgard has no leader, Thor is hanging out, you know. Everyone's happy that Mangog is no longer there, but Thor is sad because he still doesn't have any idea where his dad is at. And so he goes to talk to his dad's old advisor, and I guess they did some research, and they found that on Odin's way back from Earth, from San Diego, he was intercepted by somebody, and they don't know where he's at. But he thinks he may have gotten intercepted in Valhalla, which is like the Asgardian, like heaven.
Yeah.
So he sends Thor on a trip to go figure out if he's there. And so Thor gets there. He starts seeing like this man in the distance, a shadow, and it looks like Odin. So he keeps following the shadow. He eventually gets caught by other fallen warriors who are also in Valhalla, or who are trying to basically kill Thor to get him to stay there. He's battling them out, winning, but it's just an endless battle because these guys are going to just keep coming back. They're dead already. And so he eventually the battle stops. Hela shows up, which actually looks in that panel. Let me see if I can find it. The art for her looks really good. I don't know if it's just because like the colors look good or something, but the way she looks in the book, it looks really nice.
There's a couple panels in all like these that were just like really
good.
Yeah.
Basically, she shows up, and Thor's like, yeah, where's my dad? I know he's here. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, don't lie to me, woman. I know he's here. And she says, I'm not lying to you. I have no reason to lie to you. But if you do want to find him, you need to go find this jewel, which will show you where he's at. And he's like, okay. So he leaves Valhalla, and that's the end of that issue. Next issue, he goes deep underground to some cave system because the jewel is attached to this dragon or something. And as you guys can tell, I'm done with this. I don't care. Let me get to that issue wherever it was, because it resolves nothing. He gets to the center of the earth and he's looking for this jewel, but there's also a troll named Uluk who is also looking for this jewel. Basically, in the Marvel universe, there are trolls that live underground, and they're like this. They're not like your regular trolls. They're like big, strong, but all they do is mine.
We're not like your regular trolls.
We're different. We're big and strong, and we got big muscles.
So is it kind of like they're kind of like what was that race of people in Endgame?
Those are dwarves.
Oh, okay,
but these are trolls.
All right.
I don't. They're miners.
Let's not try to make sense of it.
They pretty much they just mine ore and stuff like that.
Perfect.
But they're after the jewel too, because while they were mining, they opened up a portal to another dimension, and basically they were all dying. They were being sucked in and being killed, and the only way they can really close the portal is if they get the jewel. But Thor needs the jewel in order to save Odin. So there's a big battle between Thor and Uluk, and they're fighting to the death. And then Thor finally says, "Well, why don't we just share the jewel? Like, if I can close the portal for you, let's team up. If I can close the portal for you, you don't need the jewel. I can get the jewel." And so he's like, "Fine, I guess we're enemies, but whatever." And so they plan on closing the portal, and they end up closing it. There's a big battle with like a dragon or another dragon or something, and or something. I was really not interested after this. Essentially, they get the jewel. Thor heads back to Asgard, and that's where this issue ends.
Okay.
So, no resolution. We still don't know where Odin is. What was the point?
Nothing. And I really think this should have ended like where you were like really into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These last 3 issues were pointless.
We're just gonna. I think we should just leave it at the fact that Odin's lost, and Thor doesn't know where he's at.
Yeah.
Because this is. I feel like we'd have to read like another 15.
Yeah, that's
to
the
get
thing.
like some of the resolution.
Everything was just so drawn out.
Yeah.
Like adding those little flashbacks once per issue for what's happening on Asgard doesn't add anything. If anything, it made me say, I don't care what's happening there. Please stop it.
Yeah.
Just tell me what's happening throughout the main story.
And like, if that's what you were getting to, is that Mangog was Odin the whole time, then why not just give us that?
Yeah.
Why not? Why do you have to give us the traveling through time and space to the end of time and back? Why do you have to give us going to Costa Verde and and back?
Those things had nothing to do with anything.
No, just to give me just to give me the fact that that's not really Odin.
Yeah.
In the first place, that's upsetting.
This whole thing was upsetting.
What a way to end the year. Perfect.
With the
That was let's not go any further.
yeah.
We're already too deep into this.
And what made it even worse was the fact that they speak in that Shakespearean thou has my father been language. It's just annoying.
I hate it.
I was speed reading through most of it.
I tried to do that, but then I couldn't understand any of the shit they were saying.
I was just like, yeah, I get this.
Yeah, every time some like regular English speaking person came in, I was like, all right, cool. That was not a great story arc, I'm assuming. I'm going with.
No, not good at all.
Yeah. The thing about these is that I would have loved to end the year on a high note. Right? Like, I would have loved to just really give you guys a real banger of an episode for the last one of the year. Especially since we're taking a couple weeks off, which we'll get into in a bit. But that's not how these work. If we go in order, then that's definitely not how this stuff is going to work. We're going to have some real dud of a stories going as we go along. Because, I mean, what's the point of going through all the good ones in the beginning just to have to go through all the shit ones after?
True.
So we're going to have some good stuff coming up this new season that we have starting in the new year. A lot of good stuff from what I've heard.
I hope so.
You know what? Let's just get into the ratings first. I'm giving this a 2 only because I like the artwork in a lot of the issues, but the story was horrible. Let me not say horrible. It wasn't horrible. It just wasn't. It didn't connect anything. Like every 3 issues, I just felt like that could have just been it.
I'm gonna give it a 1. To be honest with you, I was bored reading this. Like, at no point did I think, oh man, this is getting good, or like, I want to see what happens next. I only wanted to see what happens next just so I can end it and be done.
Yeah, that's why I gave it a 2, is because the artwork for me gave it a 2. But I was reading the stories just in the hopes of getting to the end.
Yeah.
I only want this to end. It was not a good story.
And then the end did not pay. It was like, the end didn't pay off.
No.
It was almost like you went to the movie theater to go see a movie, and then they were like, "Oh, this is just part 1 of 25."
What? No thanks.
And it ends with the characters like, "I gotta use the bathroom."
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, like what you said, this is a year's worth of reading. This is how you get people just to buy your books.
Yeah.
Like, now, I feel like I haven't picked up a comic book in a while, but, I mean, there are a lot of, like, stories and crossovers, and there's always, like, side issues to get the full story.
Yeah.
But, for the most part, crossovers are maybe, like, 5, 6 issues now, maybe a little bit more, and they might come out twice a month.
Yeah.
So it's like you're not spending all this time just to get the payoff.
No, even like major events are still only like 5-6 months.
Yeah.
And like everything that pertains to that story is coming out in that time.
Yeah.
And it's like the major ones are like, they're not 5 or 6 issues, but then they have a lot of like side stories that are dealing with the same stuff. But yeah. You gave it a 1. I gave it a 2. I think that's it.
Yeah.
That's all we got. We are taking a break. 2 weeks. We will be back on I guess it's going to kind of feel like 3 weeks. But we'll be back with the new episode, 2nd season, on January 18th. Still on Tuesdays. We won't disappear for the 3 weeks. We'll still be around on Instagram. Thanks for for almost 300 downloads at this point.
Nice.
Over 22 episodes. Well, actually, no. What's out right now? It's only, I think, 19 episodes.
300 downloads, 19 episodes.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. I found that there are 2-part episodes. I'm starting to think people might not be feeling 2-part episodes. So that's why this one might be a little bit longer than normal. But yeah, we're going to take these couple of weeks to work out some kinks, maybe add some things, take some things out, change some things, change some processes. And we will see you guys again in 2 weeks.
Yep.
It'll be the 18th for sure. January 18th. We'll see you guys then.
Yeah, so same Webhead show. Maybe a little bit changes here and there, but we'll still be here.
But yeah, thanks guys.
Thank you for awesome first season.
Yeah. We will be back on January 18th with our new one. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye. Peace out.